purification protein or separation of protein. Yes, if you are given a mixture of two protein, you are asked to purify these two protein or you are asked to separate these two protein, the same thing. Usually you will find that there is a mixture of thousands of protein and we are to separate one protein. But to simplify the concept, we will take example of only two protein. Suppose you are given a mixture of two protein, one protein is large, another is small. Okay. So you are given a mixture of these two protein, one is large, another is small. You want to separate these two protein. We take a cylindrical column. We take a cylindrical column. We attach gel molecule on the wall of column. Yes. What is gel? You may consider gel like this. Gel having a particular pore inside their molecule. So this is gel. We are having different types of gel having different pore size. Suppose this is having large pore, smaller. So we are having different types of gel having different pore size. So we take gel molecule in which the pore size is smaller than protein A and larger than protein B. Means A protein can't enter the gel, B protein can enter. So we can represent gel molecule like this. Again repeat, we are given a mixture of two protein A and B. These two proteins are different in their size, different in their molecular weight. A is large, B is small. Now we want to separate. We pass the solution through this column. Okay, this column is having gel attached to the wall of this column. As we pass the solution through this column, large protein can't enter the pore. Yes, large protein can't enter the gel molecule, means large protein have only one option to go straight, while small protein have two options. Few molecules will enter the pore and few molecules will go straight. So the first eluent, the first solution which will come out will contain mainly large protein. Definitely. So you are given a mixture of two protein. Out of these two protein, one was large, another was small. We want to separate these two protein. Yes, we take a cylindrical column. We attach gel molecule on the wall of column. Now this solution is passed through this column. Large protein have only one option to go straight, while small protein few molecules will enter the gel and few molecules will go straight. The first solution which will come out will contain mainly large protein, few molecules of small protein. Okay. So this technique is called gel filtration chromatography. It's called gel filtration chromatography. So question was asked, in gel filtration chromatography, which protein come out first? Yes, definitely large protein will come out first. Point it out, it is different from simple filtration. If you take a sieve, that sieve is compact structure. Yes, if you take a sieve and you pass solution over this sieve, yes, large molecule, large protein will remain on the surface and small protein will permeate. Clear? So in simple filtration, small protein will permeate, will come out first, but this is not simple filtration, it is chromatography. So in this gel filtration chromatography, large protein will come out first. This question was asked, most of the students confused gel filtration chromatography with simple filtration. Okay, so remember, in gel filtration chromatography, large protein will come out first. Clear? Yes, we are separating these two protein on the basis of their size. Definitely, we are separating these two protein on the basis of their size. And if they are separated on the basis of size, you can say the other name is size exclusion chromatography. Question. So another name of gel filtration chromatography is size exclusion chromatography. Clear? Point it out, I said that we attach gel molecule on the wall of column. In fact, these gel molecules are attached, or if you take, you must know the exact concept. I slightly modified the concept to make it simple, but you must know the exact concept. So if you take cross-sectional area of this column, you will find that in cross-sectional area, these gel molecules are attached randomly here and there. Okay, these gel molecules are attached randomly here and there. So, but to simplify, we can say that these gel molecules are attached at the wall of column. In fact, they are attached in a meshwork, okay, randomly, and there is large gap in between these molecules, okay. So this is first technique of protein purification, that is gel filtration chromatography or size exclusion chromatography, in which proteins are purified on the basis of their size. Now, you are given a mixture of protein. Suppose, second example, you are given a mixture of two protein. One is positively charged and another is negatively charged. You are given a mixture of two protein. We found that out of these two protein, one is positively charged, another is negatively charged. Yes, proteins are having charge. You know, histone proteins are having positive charge. Yes, albumin is having negative charge. Apparently, proteins are having charge. I told you that proteins are having acidic amino acid, basic amino acid. Based on their amino acid composition, they are having different charge. Okay, histone proteins are having positive charge. Is frequently asked question. Okay, so we know that proteins are having charge. Suppose you are given a mixture of these two protein, and we found that these two proteins are different in their charge. We take a column, cylindrical column again, and we attach CMC. What is CMC? Carboxy methyl cellulose. Carboxy methyl cellulose. Yes, I told you that wherever there is carboxy, you will say it is having which charge? Negative charge. Yes, any compound, if it is having carboxyl group, you will say it is having negative charge. As I told you, acidic amino acid are having carboxylic group in their side chain. That is why acidic amino acid, aspartate and glutamates are having negative charge. Okay, so this is a mnemonic type. Any compound, if you find that there is carboxylic group, you will say it is having negative charge. So CMC is having which charge? Negative charge. So we take a column, attach CMC on the wall of column. Now this solution is passed through this column. Positively charged protein will bind to interact with negatively charged, and another protein will come out first. Okay, definitely. And this is called ion exchange chromatography. Ion exchange chromatography. And question, ion exchange chromatography based on charge. Ion exchange chromatography is based on charge. Okay. Now, you are given a mixture of two protein. Suppose you are given a mixture of two protein, and you found that out of these two protein, one is antigen. Okay, out of these two protein, one is antigen, and this is another protein. Suppose you are given a mixture of two protein and you found that out of these two protein, one is antigen, one is having antigenic property. Yes, proteins are having antigenic property. So we found that out of these two protein, one is antigen. Now we take a column, we attach antibody on the wall of column. Now this solution is passed through this column. As this solution is passed through this column, antigen has affinity for antibody, so antigen will interact with antibody and another protein will come out first. So antigen and antibody are having affinity for each other. That is why now this chromatography is called affinity chromatography. This is called affinity chromatography. Clear? So question is asked that antigen is a mixture of antigen in a protein can be purified by affinity chromatography. Because antigen and antibody have affinity for each other, that is why this is affinity chromatography. Now, you are given a mixture of two protein. Another example. You know, I initially told you all enzymes are protein except ribozyme. Ribozyme are RNA having enzymatic activity. So suppose you are given a mixture of two protein and you found that out of these two protein, one is enzyme. Maybe, definitely, enzyme are proteins. Suppose you are given a mixture of two protein and we found that out of these two protein, one protein is enzyme and we want to separate these two protein. We take a column, cylindrical column, we attach coenzyme on the wall of column. You know, enzyme and coenzyme have affinity for each other. Definitely enzyme and coenzyme have affinity for each other. So we attach coenzyme on the wall of column. Now this solution is passed through this column. As the solution is passed through this column, yes, enzyme will bind to the coenzyme. Okay, you know, enzyme and coenzyme have affinity for each other. So as this solution is passed through this column, enzyme will interact with coenzyme because they are having affinity for each other. Another protein will come out first. So this is another example of affinity chromatography. Clear? This is another example of affinity chromatography. Now, recently asked question. Suppose you are given a mixture of two protein, okay, or we usually describe protein purification or chromatography with, or we describe chromatography with protein purification, but chromatography can be used to purify other compounds, lipid, nucleic acid. Okay, so suppose we take example, you are given a mixture of a protein and messenger RNA. Okay, and we want to separate this messenger RNA. You know, messenger RNA is having which tail? Poly A tail. Messenger RNA is having poly A tail. So when this solution is passed, yeah, okay. Now again, if you are given a mixture of protein and messenger RNA, you want to separate these two. We will take a column. Okay, we take a column. We attach poly U on the wall of column. Poly U on the wall of column. Now this solution is passed through this column. So messenger RNA having poly A will bind to poly U, because poly A has affinity for poly U, and this protein will come out first. So A and U have affinity for each other. So another example of affinity chromatography. Question was asked, messenger RNA can be purified by? Answer was affinity chromatography. Yes, messenger RNA can be purified by affinity chromatography. So we found that nucleic acid can be purified by affinity chromatography. Not only for messenger RNA, if we know the nucleotide sequence of a oligonucleotide and we want to separate this oligonucleotide, we can attach complementary probe on the wall of this column and we can purify. Okay. Okay. So point is that I told you about chromatography. Yes. Whenever chromatography comes, you will consider two phases. One is called mobile phase, another is called stationary phase. Means one solution is moving. Yes, this solution is moving, that is mobile phase. This column is stationary phase or stable phase. So in chromatography, two phases are there. One is called mobile phase, another is called stationary phase. Usually, not always, mobile phase is given to you and stationary phase is decided by you. Yes, I explain. Initially, you were given, at the starting point I told you, if you are given a mixture of two protein and these two proteins are different in their size, a mixture of protein is given to you different in their size. Okay, you will take the solution, you will take the mixture and you will analyze, and you found that these two proteins are different in their size. Mobile phase was given to you. You decided to take a column having gel molecule on the wall of column. Okay, stationary phase decided by you. Okay. Next time you were given a mixture of two protein, you analyzed that these two proteins are different in their charge. That is why you took a column having CMC on the wall of column and did ion exchange chromatography. Next time you are given a mixture of two protein and you found that out of these two protein, one is antigen. That is why you decided to take a column having antibody. So mobile phase is given, you analyze the mobile phase and accordingly you use stationary phase. Next time you were given a mixture of two protein, out of these two protein one was enzyme, that is why you decided to take a column having coenzyme. And in this again a mixture of protein and messenger RNA was there, you decided to take a column having this poly U. Okay. In all these chromatography, stationary phase was a cylindrical column. That is why you can say all these chromatography are example of column chromatography. Very simple concept. If the stationary phase is cylindrical column, you will say this is column chromatography. Okay, so all these types are example of column chromatography. Okay, simple concept. If stationary phase is a cylindrical column, column chromatography. If stationary phase is a thin layer of silica, thin layer chromatography. If stationary phase is a filter paper, paper chromatography. Okay. Now, you know, chromatography is not a single step process, the multiple step process. Okay, we are concerned with the basic concept. We are not going in detail. By this concept, we will solve all our questions. Okay. Now, paper chromatography. Recently asked question. Suppose you are given a solution, or this is solution, methyl cellulose. Yes, methyl cellulose is a non-polar organic solvent. What is this? Non-polar organic solvent. Okay, I told you carboxymethyl cellulose, CMC. CMC was having negative charge. I told you that if carboxyl group is there, definitely it is having negative charge. This is methyl cellulose. Yes, this is methyl cellulose. That is non-polar organic solvent. If you take a paper with the paper and dip this paper in methyl cellulose media, this methyl cellulose will ascend over it by capillary action. This is normal phenomena. Means whenever you dip this filter paper in methyl cellulose media, this solution will ascend over it by capillary action. Okay, we will use this property in paper chromatography. Suppose you are given a mixture of 4 amino acid. Yes, you are given a mixture of 4 amino acid. Those amino acids are glycine, valine, aspartate and lysine. This question was asked. You are given a mixture of 4 amino acid. Those are glycine, valine, aspartate and lysine. Now you want to separate these 4 amino acid. You know the properties of all amino acid. Glycine is polar or non-polar? Non-polar. Valine, non-polar. Aspartate is having which charge? Negative. Lysine is having positive charge. And I told you the gradation of polarity, non-polarity. Valine is more non-polar than alanine, than glycine. Non-polar property. Valine is more non-polar than alanine than glycine. Now, you know the concept. Polar compounds are soluble in polar solvent. Non-polar compounds are soluble in non-polar solvent. Okay. Polar are soluble in polar solvent, non-polar are soluble in non-polar solvent. So out of these four, valine is more non-polar than glycine. Yes, I told you that glycine may be considered as both polar and non-polar, depending on the question. I yesterday told you that in questions you will find that which compound is polar, and option were given glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, and we marked glycine as the answer because glycine is having very small chain. Yes, only H. Yes, it is very small, it is too small to make hydrophobic interaction. That is why few property of glycine are like polar amino acid. But we classify glycine as non-polar. But the non-polar property of glycine is less than valine. And you have to remember this gradation. So out of these four, valine is having maximum non-polar property, and methyl cellulose is a non-polar organic solvent, and we know that non-polar compounds are soluble in non-polar solvent. So with this concept we can solve the question. Question was, in paper chromatography, if the solvent is methyl cellulose, which amino acid will travel maximum distance? Okay, so what is the concept? Suppose you are given a mixture of 4 amino acid you want to separate. You will take a paper, you will put the mixture of all 4 amino acid at the base of paper. You will dip the paper in methyl cellulose media. As you will dip this paper in methyl cellulose will ascend over it, and anything which is soluble in methyl cellulose will ascend over this paper with methyl cellulose, which is not soluble will remain at the base. So if we put the mixture of all amino acid at the base of this filter paper and dip this paper in methyl cellulose media, this methyl cellulose will ascend over it, and valine being maximum soluble will ascend over this paper. So which amino acid will move fastest, will move maximum distance? The answer was valine. So whenever question is asked on paper chromatography, you will find the non-polar amino acid maximum soluble in non-polar organic solvent and will travel maximum distance. Clear? Now, so question again, which of the following amino acid will move fastest or will travel maximum distance on paper chromatography in methyl cellulose? The answer was valine. Now, next topic, or you can say purification. Write down purification of protein based on size. Purification of protein based on size or molecular weight. Size or molecular weight are same. Okay. First technique, yes, gel filtration chromatography. Or size exclusion chromatography. Second technique, SDS page. Question. frequently asked question, electrophoresis. Okay, SDS, sodium dodecyl sulfate polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. Sodium dodecyl sulfate SDS, page PAGE. Okay, so SDS page is electrophoresis, and I told you electrophoresis movement depends on charge, size and shape, but SDS page is the electrophoresis. Question, frequently asked question. Whenever you think about electrophoresis, the first thing which come into mind, that is charge, but SDS page is the electrophoresis in which movement depends on size. SDS page is the electrophoresis in which proteins are purified on the basis of size. Okay, in which proteins are purified on the basis of size. Yes, we make mnemonic SDS, size dependent separation. Size dependent separation. This is mnemonic. That is size dependent separation. So means SDS page is the technique to separate protein, to purify protein, and depends on size. Both are question. Now dodecyl mnemonic 2, do means 2, dis matlab 10, 2 plus 10 is equal to 12 carbon. So we found that 12 carbon fatty acid is lauric acid. Question, 12 carbon fatty acid is lauric acid. Okay, so question is asked that SDS is salt derivative of lauric acid. SDS is salt derivative of lauric acid, and question was asked that which of the following fatty acid is used in purification of protein. So definitely lauric acid is used in the purification of protein or in SDS page. Clear? Definitely no one is going to ask about the technique, but you must have an idea of few basic concepts. Yes, a few questions. SDS denature the protein. SDS denature the protein. SDS is having negative charge. Question. So SDS is having negative charge, it denature protein. Denaturation of protein means secondary, tertiary, quaternary structure are lost. We know that tertiary structure is having disulfide bond. Yes, I told you yesterday the main bond of tertiary structure is disulfide bond. Other bonds are hydrophobic, hydrogen and ionic. Okay, so SDS denature the protein we found, but SDS can't cleave disulfide bond. Question. SDS can't cleave disulfide bond. Question. Yes, SDS can't cleave disulfide bond. That question was asked. SDS can't cleave disulfide bond. To cleave definitely in the SDS phase we denature the protein with the help of SDS, but we found that SDS denature but can't cleave disulfide bond, but we are to cut this disulfide bond, so we use mercaptoethanol. To cleave disulfide bond, we add mercaptoethanol to cleave disulfide bond. Question. So question direct आएगा, in purification of protein SDS page mercaptoethanol is used. Mercaptoethanol is used to cleave, to cut disulfide bond. Okay. So SDS page, I simplify SDS page. We know all these points about SDS page. It is the electrophoresis in which movement depends on size only. SDS denature the protein, salt derivative of lauric acid. To cleave disulfide bond we add mercaptoethanol. Okay. I slightly modify the concept, but the basic concept will remain same. I will slightly modify the technique. Okay. But we are to solve question. Suppose there are two protein A and protein B. This is protein A. This is protein B. This is suppose protein B. A is small, B is large. Suppose there are two proteins A and B. A is small, B is large. We want to separate these two proteins, and we are doing electrophoresis. We know electrophoresis movement depends on charge, size and shape. If normal electrophoresis is done, these two proteins will move according to their size, according to their charge, according to their shape. But if we add SDS, these two proteins are denatured. Yes, denaturation of protein means linear structure. Suppose it is having 3 amino acid and this protein is denatured. Denaturation of protein means secondary, tertiary, quaternary structure are lost. So now it will acquire primary structure, sequence of amino acid. In the same way, protein B is denatured. So as we add SDS, protein is denatured, means secondary, tertiary, quaternary structure are lost, means shape is lost. Okay? Yes, protein की shape क्या होती है? Secondary, tertiary, quaternary structure. We add SDS. As we add SDS and definitely mercaptoethanol to cleave disulfide bond. So secondary, tertiary, quaternary structure are lost. Shape is lost, means both A and B will have only linear sequence of amino acid. Now protein movement will depend on charge and size. Now we found that 1.4 gram, you will write here, 1.4 gram SDS bind to 1 gram of protein. One 1.4 gram SDS bind to 1 gram of protein. Okay, so this protein A is small, B protein is large. If SDS is not added in this solution, in this electrophoresis, these protein A and B will move according to their charge, size and shape. Okay, charge means internal charge of these two proteins. Yes, proteins are having internal charge. Yes, each and every protein has its own internal charge. That is very, very small. So these two proteins move according to their charge, size and shape. But we add SDS. As we add SDS, the shape is lost. Now protein will move according to charge and size. We found that 1 gram, 1.4 gram SDS bind to 1 gram of protein. This protein is small, so less SDS bind to it. This protein is large, more SDS bind to it. And SDS is having which charge? Yes, negative charge. So protein will A will acquire negative charge, less negative charge. B will acquire more negative charge. Now the internal charge of protein A and B will be negligible in comparison to charge of SDS. Or you can say these two protein will acquire charge according to their size. If protein is small, less charge, negative charge. Protein is large, more negative charge. So now these two proteins will move. It means internal charge of protein is lost by adding SDS. Now protein is moving according to their only and only size. This is the question. No one is going to ask about the technique. Okay, I simplified this technique. The main purpose was to tell you that shape means secondary, tertiary, quaternary structure of protein. And if you denature the protein, these structures, the shape is lost. Okay, and charge means in electrophoresis protein movement depends on charge, means internal charge of protein. Okay, and when we add SDS, internal charge of protein is negligible. Now movement depends only and only on size. So SDS phase is the electrophoresis in which proteins are purified on the basis of size. Clear? So this is each and every statement is question. Direct questions are asked. So now we know SDS page, gel filtration chromatography. So I told you that purification of protein based on size. First technique was gel filtration chromatography. Second was SDS page. Third is dialysis. Yes, dialysis. Yes, in dialysis we take semi-permeable membrane. Small protein can pass through this membrane, large protein can't. So definitely Purification based on size. So these are common technique in which proteins are purified on the basis of size. Now very important question. These techniques are based on size or molecular weight. So these can be used to determine molecular weight of protein. These techniques can be used to determine molecular weight of protein. Question. So these techniques can be used to determine molecular weight of